All right, I think we're going once again because the software is always there's a little latency there, so I don't know. So anyway, here we go. This is Left Right Out. I'm Vincent Melkus, former congressional candidate in Montana, and also just a political commentator and an entrepreneur. What I woke up like many other people and Saturday, and the media had declared Biden the victor and the president-elect. Now, the night before, I'd stayed up, like many of you, and noticed that President Trump was ahead in many key areas, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and then that all evaporated somehow. Also, we'll get into this a little bit. I'm going to keep this short, but we're going to get into this a little bit. Arizona was called fairly early, and now I grew up part of my life in Arizona. I have many friends. My mom still lives there, and I will tell you this is one of the most conservative states. It's also number one, I believe, still for gun rights. With the mass exodus of Californians in that state. I looked at that, and when they called that, and I was like, no way. That was what floored me. I didn't even care what else happened. That floored me to death. I mean, I didn't know what to think about that. There's just no way. Now, here's what we're finding out. So, be all that as it may. The media has pushed this. Even Fox News. I've been saying Fox News is a plantation for conservatives. It's to keep you in the box. Sure enough. So, here's what happened. I'm not going to put anything in there. This is up to you to look up. But apparently the Murdochs were caught tweeting that they were elated, so to speak, that they'd done it. Biden won. Of course, Fox News called Arizona early. They called a number of congressional districts early. They cut off recently a press conference that was laying out a number of the evidence, or what is going to be presented as evidence in these lawsuits. But they cut them off right in the middle, and then they claim that there is no evidence. I mean we expect that from CNN and them. But what you see if you watch the mainstream networks right now is they're pushing that. Well, it's unfounded claims. There's no real hard evidence, and yet it's blatantly in their face. One, you have I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of illegal registered voters, or not illegal, but I mean they shouldn't be registered in Georgia. There are people that moved or whatever. You have hundreds of affidavits in Pennsylvania and in Wisconsin and Michigan of people that have witnessed voter fraud. You have in Arizona the fact that you call it Sharpie Gate. Maybe it affected it, maybe it didn't. But people, and I even heard this from my own mom, they were told not to use Sharpies. They were told, up to a month in advance not to use Sharpies, and that people witnessed their ballots getting rejected using the Sharpies and then tossed. There's people getting charged right now in Texas for ordering or receiving mail-in ballots for people at a nursing home. I mean, that's just off the top of my head. If you go to people like Crowder, he's kind of documented a lot of this. Now, I called this before the election that this stuff was going to happen. I was just hoping there would be enough Trump voters like last time to overcome it. One of the things I posted was that one thing is for sure, that Biden, Harris, and the Democrats will get 100% of the dead vote. How did I know that was going to happen? It did. It happens every election. The dead people vote. Found out that somebody's like 170 years old and he voted in Pennsylvania somewhere. And of course, when you go to the fact checker, so if you see this on Facebook, or if you see this somewhere, there will be a fact check thing. So you click on that, and about 75% of the time it goes to some generic thing about how the election is a secure process. All the while, we've known throughout history that our electoral process is not secure. In fact, it's probably become even less secure. And in those security protocols that are in place are only as good as the people that enforce them. So we know that there's a lot of shenanigans going on. And we can talk about now we haven't even gotten into the software issue, which there's been a number of other people who have been talking about this for years. I believe one of them was Michael Savage last 4 years ago, or last election, about the software that has the capabilities to flip votes. You can do a quick software update to it, and it will literally it's a pretty simple binary function, I believe. Well, anyway, it'll flip the votes, and they've even caught it this time in Michigan. There was a glitch. That's just a glitch now. There's actual, you could call it, we need to look into the glitches, but there could be more nefarious, a more nefarious, the term's escaping my mind, but more nefarious intentions behind some of these. But the point is that electronic voting is susceptible to fraud easily. I mean, I don't even know why this is even a debate. It doesn't matter what party you're in. I've not been a big fan of Trump. I've liked him when he was running in 2016, but then he kind of just took all the same policies and took the credit, and he lies about the economy. But at the same time, I'd rather have him than Biden. But regardless of that, now that this is out in the open, we need we need to just knock this fraud out. Let's check it. And what we're going to see is there is a couple different scams that are going on in these elections, whether it be holding certain counties back, whether it be getting a number of mail-in ballots to like one location, or to people that are dead, or to people that are mentally incapable of voting, and you're filling them out yourself, or you're actually bussing around individuals to polling place and voting multiple times, or you're getting people that move from one state to vote in another state that might be a swing state. I mean, there's a number of different scams, and then the software thing. Like, so there's so many. Now, what do we know? We know that so far, at least according to what's going to be sworn testimony, their affidavits, that people were coached, poll workers were coached to do certain illegal things. There are certain poll workers that coached voters. We know that there's people that were receiving multiple ballots on behalf of other people and voting. We've got witness testimony of people filling out upwards of 50 plus ballots in a post office. We have affidavits that there were what would you call it, tampering with ballots to make them legal, or make them look legal even though they're illegal. We know that they've accepted ballots past the time that they're supposed to. We know they defied their own laws. So this is in various states. So it's not a question anymore. So when you hear the media, if you're watching the CNNs, if you're watching the alphabet networks, and they say they're this unfounded thing, there is no proof or whatever. Well, there is. They're just choosing to ignore it, and they're hoping that they can keep pounding that in your brain to condition you to assume that there is no evidence of this malfeasance, this electoral fraud is what I'm going to call it. But there is, and there's enough of it to look into it, and there's enough of it to swing elections. We're talking about Arizona is going to be one. I'm calling it right now. That I'm saying that Trump's got that one. And I think that was stolen from him. And I think Pennsylvania was definitely stolen from him. And Georgia, I think there's enough going on in Georgia that's probably, or Wisconsin's another good one. Wisconsin, that's so screwed up that there's something going on there. But there's a number of other states that he won that things were going on. Nevada's one that we don't really know. That we know there's something going. We know there's people that voted in Nevada that were outside the state that weren't supposed to be voting for there. There's a lot of evidence. So whenever they say that, or when you see the old fact checkers, the old Snopes of the bunch, just rest assured, all you got to do is look at that with a conspicuous eye, a discerning eye, and you can see through that propaganda that they're trying to push upon you. And then we can also look at the fact that now it's all President-elect Biden, President-elect O'Brien, and he's taking the mantle, and he's just, it's almost like a conditioning of the American people. Hey, this isn't over yet. This is far from over. We don't know anything. We don't know who the president is going to be. But the media's picked their guy. And if anything, this has shown us that who the media really is. They have dropped the veil. They have taken the mask off completely. Now let's get back into Fox News. I've called the Fox News thing for a while. I've gotten yelled at in arguments with my family over it, saying that Fox News is a front, that they're there to keep you in a box of acceptable opinion. And that's exactly what they have done. And they have shown themselves this election. And then, but I've already known this. And if you haven't, you ought to. Hopefully this shows you what kind of a matrix that you've been living in, and it'll hopefully unplug you out of that so that you can look for these alternative sources. And I'm not saying that you need to go join whatever this parlor thing or whatever it is, but you need to be able to discern the truth and be able to look in the facts. So, like, if you don't have to believe me about all this election stuff. You don't have to, but I damn sure don't want you to believe in CNN and all that crap. What you should do is go look at the source documents, because they will be public. Go look at the people that are the whistleblowers, the sworn affidavits that are being filed. So when they file this stuff in there, you should publicly be able to look at it. Now, a good place to look at to follow is Judicial Watch, who's on the forefront of a lot of this electoral stuff. They were there in 2000 when the hanging Chad crap was going on, but they do a lot of good work, and you can find out a lot of information. So they're pretty. I don't want to say they're constitution. They're trying to do the right thing. Now, you don't even need to take it from them, but look at source documents. Stop getting your opinions from these jackasses in the news. And that includes me as well. I'm just trying to give you I'm not trying to give you the news. I'm not trying to tell you how to think. I'm trying to give you information as a little bullets that are penetrating the box that you're living in there. So hopefully you can see some light glaring in there and look and see a bigger picture. Now, I'm going to end it right now. I would love for you to like and subscribe this and help me grow this so I can, get a better cameras and stuff, and we can get in a little more in depth instead of doing these, 10, 11 minute me just riffing videos. But anyway, stay the course. Just pray for the right thing to happen, and then no matter what, do what's best for you. Produce something, gain some kind of knowledge, protect yourself financially, and let's hopefully we can save this republic. I'll talk to you later.